welcome back to the channel. I hope that you're all doing well. I have such a great video for you today. Thank you for tuning in. I have enjoyed my mini crock pot so much. There is a video on my channel that's doing really great, and I didn't know that mini crock pots were so popular. And there is so much interest in, you know, single meal or just maybe 2 meals in one recipes. And the mini crock pot really offers that convenience for you, you know? And so these crock pots are wonderful because it's a set it and go kind of deal, right? For many of us, we're busy. We work all day. You want to throw something easy in a crock pot and go and come back and your food is ready. And not only that, the convenience of your food being ready when you get home, but you can control so much. You know, you could create meals that are healthy for you, that are lower in calories. You could follow whatever meal plan it is that you are doing at the time, you know. This week, I brought you 3 chili recipes. Who doesn't love chili, you know? I love chili, and the crock pot makes it so easy. So I am going to bring you 3 chili recipes again, and we will taste them. And today, it is actually my final recipe of this series that I'm bringing to you, and it's called the Chili Mac chili. Yeah, Chili Mac chili. That's what we'll call it. And so we'll start with the Chili Mac, and then we'll go into the others that I have. But while we're here, let's go over what I've done so far in this Chili Mac recipe. We'll go over the ingredients, and I'll let you know where we are now. We'll catch up and we'll come back for a taste test when it's done cooking. Okay, you ready? Let's get into it. So the first thing I did was, of course, get my ingredients together, which are these bell pepper, garlic, and onions. And I also had a little bit of ground beef available in my freezer. And I was able to take the ground beef directly from the freezer into the crock pot because no need to defrost your ground beef. So awesome. And I had my seasonings here and some chili powder. I'm using paprika. I love this seasoning from Trader Joe's. It's kind of like an all-purpose seasoning. And of course, garlic powder, salt and pepper. And also, we're going to use a little bit of this leftover spaghetti sauce that I have. And I'm also going to use a little bit of tomato paste and water, of course. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to the crock pot, get that going. We're going to add some water. And then I have some diced canned tomatoes with chilies that I'm going to add. And so I've added all of that to the crock pot. I'm going to set it to high because remember, our meat is frozen, so we want to get that cooking. And that is where I am now in the process. And let's continue on. So because this is a Chili Mac recipe, I have some elbow noodles. I'm going to add the elbow noodles to my crock pot. I'm also going to add a little corn because I love corn. You don't have to add corn. But this reminds me almost of a goulash, you know. So I'm going to add a little frozen corn, a tiny bit of sugar because I love a little bit of sweetness in something like this. Turn it down to low, and then I'm going to take off for a little bit. And when I get back, it should be done. So I know that the quantities aren't listed here or of each ingredient, but I'll make sure that they're in the description box. Okay, so let's add our elbow noodles, and then when I see you next time, it should be done and we'll give it a taste test. Okay, let's go. Okay, I'm going to turn this down to low. It's been on high, looking really good. It smells awesome. All right. This is a half of a cup of elbow noodles. Add those in there. Okay, and this is about a half a cup of frozen corn. Here's my frozen corn. I'm gonna add just a little dab of sugar. There we go. I guess it's the country girl in me. Alrighty, so we're gonna let this go. Again, I've turned it on to low. Look at that. And we'll see what it tastes like. All right. Okay, oh, here you are. Okay, guys, I just got home from a long day. I'm gonna try this chili mac, let you know what I think. It looks really good. It sat for, let's see, it cooked rather for probably about a good 5 hours. And you know that the first 2 hours it cooked on high, and then I turned it down to low, and then put the noodles in, and then for like the last hour it was on warm. All right, let's give it a taste. Looks really good. Good. You know, excuse me, your kids will love this. This is something like out of your childhood. So easy to put together, you know. You can see these tomatoes are still, you know, kind of holding up. That corn is still there, and the ground beef, of course. Just an easy meal. The bell pepper, you know, it's kind of, you know, Italian tasting because of the spaghetti sauce that I use. You don't have to use that. I use that because it had, you know, somewhat of a saucy consistency. But it's so good, and I can kind of taste the chili in there as well in terms of the chili powder and those seasonings. So really good. You got to give this one a try too. Okay. Yum. Okay, next up, 5-alarm chili. So I'm going to use more ground beef for this recipe. We have some, I believe that's about an 80-20 ground beef, but you should use a leaner ground beef if you're trying to watch your calories. I have a red bell pepper, jalapeno pepper. I also have an onion. I have garlic. I'm using some Hatch Valley salsa there. It's made with Hatch chilies. We have ketchup for a little seasonings, Red Rooster, hot sauce, my favorite hot sauce there. For our seasonings, we're going to go with ground cumin. We have some chili, of course, which is ground chili. We have some smoked paprika. And we also are going to use in this recipe salt and pepper. You can't get away without salt and pepper, of course. And we're going to use some fat-free refried beans for this recipe because it just gives your chili such a creamy kind of texture. So let's get these vegetables diced. And you know, the fun thing about working with crock pots is that, you know, your food is it's gonna sit for a while, so you don't have to have perfect, you know, vegetables. They don't have to be perfectly diced or cut. So and I love the sweet bell peppers because, you know, they're mild. And then you can follow it right up with something like a jalapeno pepper. And I have taken the seeds out of this pepper for the most part, but I've left a few in there because, again, this is my hot chili. So I want to be able to keep some heat in there. But if you don't want the heat, of course, go ahead and take out all of those seeds. Okay, we're going to use about a half a cup of these refried beans because it adds such a creaminess. Get our garlic into the crock pot here. You know, garlic is a staple, and I had to break down and get the jarred garlic recently. It makes our life so much easier, but it is not as fresh, of course, as garlic that you chop on your own. Okay, here's that Hatch Valley salsa that I picked up from Trader Joe's. And the Hatch chilies are, you know, a bit spicy. Not so much that it's going to blow your palate out, you know. But the flavor is really good because, of course, they're fryer roasted. So adding a couple of tablespoons of that. Here are those refried beans. Of course, I'm adding the water from the beans because it doesn't hurt to add those into my crock pot. And again, this is about a half of a cup. And, you know, the refried beans are your bean element for this chili, but also it just works as the, you know, added texture, the creaminess. I'm going to add about 1/4 of a cup of ketchup. And I love ketchup in these recipes because it's tomato, right? So it creates the tomato base that you're looking for when you're making something like a chili, but also because it has a sweetness to it. And so it's a bang for your buck, you know? So there's my ketchup. I'm adding my ground beef, and this is just about a 1/4 pound of ground beef. That's all you need in this, you know, single serving that you're using. There goes my chili powder. And again, the seasonings are chili powder, cumin, a little garlic powder, salt and pepper, and that smoked paprika. And we're going to get that into this crock pot, give that a stir. All right. Okay, make sure we add our salt and pepper last for the seasonings. And then we're going to go ahead and add our water. And I'm using about a half of a cup of water here. And then we're going to give that a stir. That's what our crock pot is looking like. All of the ingredients there. We're going to put our lid on. And we are going to cook this on high at first. And then we're going to cut it down to low. And we let this go for about 4 hours. And there we have it, our 5-alarm chili. It's time. All right, this chili looks so good. I got my hot sauce, you know, my Louisiana hot sauce out of the fridge. And of course I had to try it with a few crackers. Now, this is kind of what I am calling the 5-alarm chili because it had the Hatch chilies in there, the Hatch chili sauce, and the jalapeños. And I'm going to add some of my Red Rooster, which is my favorite hot sauce because it's the Louisiana hot sauce. And I put this on everything. And let's see. Let's give it a try. Now, you saw how thick this chili is. Look at that. Look at this. It looks so good. And, I made only enough for maybe, 2 lunches or something like that. So let's give it a try. That's perfect. Yeah. And it's just spicy enough, it's not gonna blow my palate out. And I love it. The best part about something like this is that even though we use that higher content ground beef, and I think you have to in something like this because, it's cooking. By the way, I cooked it on high for about 2 hours and then the last hour on low, so about 3 hours in total. And one thing I noticed about the mini crock pots is that you don't need as much cooking time in the smaller quantities as you do in the bigger quantities, So 3 hours and my chili is done and it's delicious. And some of the peppers are still kind of in whole form. You see that red pepper there? Still in whole form. And and still the ground beef has a chew to it, It's not all mushy. So it's perfect. So yeah, this one is the 5-alarm chili. The refried beans gives it that thick consistency that you want in a chili. And you know what this would be perfect on later? If you're, you could do a couple of things, right? You could put this over some rice. You could have it alone just like I am, which will save you on calories. But it's so high in protein, you should be full for a little while. But this would be perfect over some hot dogs. Like chili dogs, Okay, that's gonna do it for my mini crock pot recipe chili number 1. It's kind of like I'm calling it my 5-alarm chili recipe. All right, let's go on to the next one. Okay, next up is the white chili, and this one was my favorite of the trio. Ingredients are taco seasoning, chicken breasts that I've seasoned with that taco seasoning, tomato paste, our seasonings, chili powder, paprika, garlic powder, salt and pepper, of course. We have a trio of peppers and onions and garlic there. We're using the Great Northern beans for this recipe. We have some cheese, cream cheese, a shredded cheese blend. We're also going to use a few green chilies here. I picked this up from the grocery store. You can, find them in the Mexican food or the Latin food aisle. Again, taco seasonings and a little bit of chicken stock. And don't forget, remember, I'm going to leave all of the ingredients and the recipes in the description box along with the quantities. All right, we're adding that chicken breast and our peppers, onions, and garlics directly into the crock pot. We're going to get started with that. And we're going to also add those green chilies. Now, this is a mild chili, so you don't have to worry about the spice level here. This chili creates somewhat of a Tex-Mex flavor profile, which I really love. And this was a taco seasoning blend that I hadn't seen before, but it was really delicious. So whatever your favorite taco packet is, you could, use it. It really, they all kind of are familiar, right? Cumin, chili powder. It doesn't matter. The flavor profile is the same. So we're going to add that to our crock pot as well. But I love adding my own spin as well, right? So some of the paprika and garlic powder just to give it a little extra oomph, All right, salt and pepper, and we're going to add about a cup or 3/4 of a cup of some chicken stock. Now, you'll notice that this recipe is somewhat liquidy, but we're going to fix that because the fun thing or the great thing about white chili is that it thickens up on you because of those cheeses. But we're going to add a little slurry to help it along the way. All right, about a tablespoon of that tomato paste. Add that, give it a good stir. So the base of our white chili is tomato. but the cheese is what makes it a white chili. We're going to cook this down for about an hour and a half on high so that the chicken can get started flavoring that broth with the onions and the peppers. Looking good. And then we're going to go ahead and add our beans with the liquid. I mentioned to you that this is a bit of a liquidy recipe, so go ahead and add your beans with the liquid because we're going to take some of that out later. We're going to add our cheeses. So I'm using a shredded cheese blend, sour cream, and cream cheese. And not much. You see, it's just a little bit there. You know, about a couple of tablespoons of each, you know. And again, I'll leave these quantities below. But that is what's going to make our white chili turn white. It's the cheese. And so you can see how this turns into a Tex-Mex kind of flavor profile. All right, give that a good stir. And now you see what I mean by the liquid. So we're going to make a slurry using some cornstarch. So we're going to turn our crock pot to low. Let it cook out. Let that cheese melt down. Because, you know, it's cream cheese in there. So you kind of have to ensure that that breaks down. So you might want to go back, keep stirring, ensure you don't have clumps of cream cheese in there. That's what I did. I just kind of kept stirring to ensure that that cream cheese was broken down. All right, now for our slurry, I just took a cup, got some liquid out of that crock pot, added a tablespoon of cornstarch because, you know, that liquid is hot. The slurry, you know, you could create that really quickly and just throw it right back into the crock pot and it thickens up perfectly. So along with the cheese and that slurry, you know, it works really well here. And then that's it. So I put the top back on and I let it go for, you know, another hour and a half or 2 hours, whatever you need, because on low you could keep it there for a while. So if you get busy, you know, no worries. And then here we are. And look at that. It looks delicious. And I'm telling you, this one is my favorite of the three. This was so delicious. And oh, look at that. The chicken, the beans, you know, beautiful color. This flavor profile was fantastic. Unfortunately, I was a little under the weather on this night, so I couldn't really bring you a live taste test. But again, it was my favorite. You got to take my word for it and give it a try. I added a little extra cheese in my bowl here and made some cornbread. And man, it was a feast. Just delicious.
Well, what did you think of those 3 recipes? I hope that you really enjoyed them. You know, chili is something that you could have a variety of ways, right? And the crock pot is just such a wonderful way to enjoy it, you know? Because again, you could just set it and go. And, you know, I have so many other chili recipes that I wanted to do but didn't for this series. You know why? Because I want to do it again. So I have more of these that I'll bring to you, but these were great recipes. I love the chili mac, of course, but I think my favorite is definitely the white chili. That is so good, so delicious. All right, well, leave me your thoughts below in the comments. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. I'd love to have you here. And that'll do it for this video. Okay, guys, thank you so much. See you on the next one. Take care. Bye.